Hey there! I got a lot of requests to review this pen. This is the Pental Tradio or Tradio, whatever you like to pronounce that. It's a fascinating pen. It's from Japan, and you can debate on whether or not this is a fountain pen. Because it's made for artists, it gives you line variation depending on the angle and the pressure with which you use it, but it doesn't really have a metal nib. Although it does have its own ink supply and it does have a feed. So usually I think own ink supply, feed, and a nib as opposed to a ballpoint tip or something defines a fountain pen. Nevertheless, I'm going to cover the parts of the pen. I'll tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and then I'll do a writing sample. Alright, let's start at the top of the cap. There's nothing. It's all plastic here. You get a plastic clip. I've got to be careful you don't break it. You have a little window there to look at the tip, and then it says Pentel Japan on that side, and here it says Tradio Stylo TRJ 50, and then I think 5G. Then we have the barrel. We have a sort of an ink window, and then the barrel tapers off a little metal ring. I think that's the only metal part on the pen, actually. You can post the pen quite securely, which is nice, and then you really have a decently sized pen, as you can see here. Very fascinating is that the section is actually transparent, so you can see the feed in there, and then you have this very odd looking tip. Reminds me a little bit of a Pilot Parallel, but it's not exactly the same. You can unscrew this body, and the fascinating thing is this is a refill. So the whole thing, when you buy a refill, you get a new tip too. So pretty much the only thing you're stuck with is the cap and the barrel. Alright, so what makes this pen fascinating? What do I like about it? What do I not like about it? Well, the tip is something else. It is indeed something that you can have some fun with, and I'll demonstrate that in the writing sample. It's quite different from your average fountain pen, and it does allow for some nice, let's say, artistic experimentation. Overall, it's a fairly light pen, but it doesn't feel really cheaply made, and I like that. It has a decent feel to it, nice matte plastic, and it actually looks pretty cool. I like that about it. I like the section. It's comfortable to hold. Yes, it's all plastic. It doesn't have any features to really grip onto except for a very minor little ring at the end there, which I think is the lip that holds the cap in place. It's right there. But it's a big section, making it pleasant to hold and to indeed experiment a bit with your different nib angles. I like that you can post it so you don't lose the cap, and it also makes for a really nice, robust pen, even though it is quite light. Speaking of that, I'm going to switch on my scales already. What do I not like about it? Black, blue, red. Those are the inks you can get them in. So you don't really have a huge range of options, but I have the feeling that if you experiment a bit, I see a little opening, it seems, between this bit and that bit. Maybe you can pull that out somehow and then refill it with your own ink. I haven't tried it, but that's something that may be possible. Or somehow remove this and maybe turn the whole barrel into an eyedropper. It seems... No, wait, it has holes in it. I thought it was closed up, but it's not. Sorry. So you can't do that. But a fun pen to play around with. These things are about $10, so they're not very expensive. Just fun to fool around with a bit, I would say. Okay, let's take some measurements. Inked up, it weighs 14 grams, so that's not a whole lot. Size-wise, total length capped is, it's not the smallest of pens, 5.66 of an inch, that's 143.8 millimeters. Uncapped, it is 132.5 millimeters, that's 5.21 of an inch. At the narrowest point, the section is about 0.43 of an inch. That means 8.7 millimeters, and at the widest point, all the way at the back here, 10.9 millimeters, or 0.43 of an inch. Okay, so there you have it. The Pental Tradio. A lot of people wanted to see it. Now we're going to see it in action. I hope this was useful. Hope you could enjoy the writing sample, and that's all there is to it. I'll gladly see you later. Bye bye. Okay, writing with this Pental Tradio. So the ink is whatever ink you get with it. They're blue. Oh, sorry, Tradio. The nib, I don't know how to describe that. I don't know how to describe the ink. The paper is Clairefontaine. And if you do regular writing with it, it's pretty nice. It feels a little bit like writing with a fine line or even a felt-tipped pen. It's actually very smooth and quite wet. Good combination. Fast writing. You see, it holds up well, no real skipping. Quite nice. Line or wetness, the ink they use is not the wettest on the planet to the extent that it seems to be fairly quick drying. Now, line variation, this is the pen at a 90-degree angle. I'm not really sure how you're supposed to squeeze out that line variation, but with some pressure you actually get something out, and if you vary the angle under which you write, you get a little bit of a different line width too, but I don't find it extremely pronounced. But as I said, if you squeeze down a bit, you see you actually get more and more of a wide line, which is quite fascinating that you can manipulate your nib into doing that. So, a fascinating pen, and one that has a nib that is the same on both sides, so you can really rotate it as you write and it will keep writing, which is quite cool. A fascinating pen to fiddle around with, I would say. So, much requested. I hope this was useful, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye bye.